Hello and welcome to another edition of your favourite podcast, Insane in the Membrane, with me, Rich Wilson. And this week I'm joined by the masterful Darran Griffiths. How are you, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. Yeah.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. It's nice. It's been a long time coming. A lot of back and forth and moving about. We do apologise for that. There's been a lot of personal stuff going on, so we had to shift things about. But we're here. We're doing it again. How are you?
Yeah, man. No, good. Good. Yeah, like I say, it has been a long time coming. I mean, I haven't seen you for a while. I think last time I saw you down in Brighton, I think.
Yeah, man.
Comedia.
Well, we did.
It was just for
Yeah.
Christmas. It's been around Christmas time, so yeah.
No. Was it really?
Yeah, I think about having Yeah.
Jesus Christ, where does the time go? I mean, yeah,
Uh,
we're in the middle of we're nearly at the end of September now.
yeah.
How has that gone that quick?
It is mad.
God, it's funny, isn't it? I think because we've got so much going on. Everybody,
Mm.
not everybody's got so much going on that we're all trying to pay our rent, and we're all trying to get money in, and we're running around to keeping ourselves going, and then suddenly you go, how is it October?
Yeah. That's the thing. It's nuts, and I'm just like, I'm dreading the Christmas music in shops and stuff and all of that because that's how it goes, right? It's always like major event after
Yeah,
major event, and then you're doing it again the next year.
mate.
Time flies.
I was stood in Marks and Spencers. There's a little one in London Bridge, and I was stood in between like the aisles. And then when you look down the shelves, like you can see on either side, there's stuff. On one side was Halloween, on the other side was Christmas. And I was just stood there going, "What? That's where we're at now. Consumerism has just got so out of hand."
Yeah,
I'm like, "We're just putting away the Easter eggs. What the
yeah.
fuck?"
We're here. Christmas is here.
Yeah, Christmas. Now we're just amalgamating Halloween and Christmas in together. So it's just to be one long diabetic fucking
all,
festival.
yeah, I mean, all exacerbated by the pumpkin spice lattes and stuff that gets released with the coffee shops.
Mate, this is it. My favourite time of year is spring. I've said
Spring.
this a few. Yeah, I love spring because there's always. I mean, listen, I can cope with all seasons. And to be honest, it's not like we live in Canada when we have they have their winters and they got 90 feet of snow and they have to dig their way to work. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I can deal with our winters, but I like spring. Spring feels full of opportunity and newness, and then you get that first smell of cut grass, and then you're driving out and you see the lambs and you see the birds
So I'm like the
singing, and you're like,
opposite. I like autumn.
yeah,
I like autumn. Yeah, because summer's too hot, and it's not even it's too hot. It's just in the UK we can't dress for summer properly.
no,
Right.
no, no, no,
I mean, it's not like we don't have pools. We don't just sit by the pool and lounge about. We still have to walk around in jeans and t-shirts and get into gigs and be in the hot rooms and stuff. So it's like it's horrible in summer, unless you're actually on holiday. Winter, yeah, just the opposite of that. It's just too cold. Whereas I think probably similar reason temperature wise, spring and autumn are pretty similar. And I think most of my wardrobe is just like is autumn. I like
yeah,
jump. I like wearing jump.
man. I tell you, I love autumn. I love that. There's that classic thing of going through the leaves, and then
Yeah.
and like you said, a pumpkin latte, and there's everything's just damp all the time. I think the thing is we forget that we live on an island,
Yeah.
and we got different things coming in from different places. That's why
Yeah.
you've got palm trees down in the West Country,
Mm.
and then you got icebergs up in the north. And
Yeah.
it's like because it's like the Galapagos Islands. Like we've got so many different things going on.
Crazy. It is
That's why
crazy.
and that's why when you go out, I remember years ago seeing a fella. He had on a big, like a big puffer jacket,
Yeah.
ski like Himalayan like bobble hat thing, and then he had his jeans, leg warmers, and flip flops, and you're like, that man,
It's confused guy.
he's just ready for it all. He's just listen. I'm ready, but that's how it is. That's why we can't dress for it because we
Yeah.
it's just things don't last long enough for us to
No. I
like.
had a
We'll buy
roll
a yeah.
yesterday.
Did ya?
I had a,
Yeah,
do you remember
already.
the roll yesterday, and I
Right.
was comfortable with it yesterday. I was comfortable.
I can't even wear. I can't wear pajamas. I have to wear these. I wear a pair of shorts because what I ended up stripping off in my sleep. because so even my subconscious is like, we ain't doing pajamas, man. We ain't doing pajamas. We ain't there yet.
Oh yeah, I always overheat in my sleep. I always have that worried moment of waking up about 4 in the morning, just soaking wet. I'd be like, have
Yeah.
I wet myself? What has happened here? And then I realised, no, I can't because my neck's wet as well. I can't have wet myself.
Oh man,
It's
that's a lot of piss. Yeah,
like-
I have. Yeah, years ago when I was doing copious amounts of illegal substances, that was there was always a time when I'm like, oh god, I don't know if I've wet myself. I don't know if I need to go. I don't know if chaos, absolute chaos. But we were just talking before we went live. We're talking about
yeah,
babies and that. Yes, I am expecting. Well, I
yes,
say
that's the
I.
point.
We are expecting. I'm not. I'm not. I'm literally, as you know, you got a little. How many have you got now?
I've got two now. I've got two. So yeah,
Two.
two under. Well, not under two. My eldest, she's two, just
Yeah,
turned 2 3 months ago. My youngest, he's 6 months. So
mate.
a lot going on. A lot
I
going on.
you, I remember when you've just how can your first one be two? Probably you've just had it. I remember when you were about to have it.
Mate, it's crazy. Like being in Edinburgh, I came back. So I came back halfway through. So the first 2 weeks, she was felt like she was exactly the same as when I left. But the second 2 weeks, she came back, and it was like She went from kind of I don't know, like a big baby to this little kid, like she was a toddler,
Right.
and she was talking, and she had like sentences, like proper like 6 to 7 word sentences, and her speech was really clear. I was like, what has happened in these 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, just transformed. I was like,
It's
Jesus, time is flying. Time is going to fly.
honestly,
Just
mate. You turn your back on them.
yeah,
Like you say, you leave them. They're like, Dada, Dada, not
yeah.
leave. I love you, Dada. And then you come back. They go, hello, father. Um, take a
Where
seat.
have
I
you
have some
been?
questions.
You appear to have abandoned the family for a month.
Yes, father. You have been in Scotland for 3.5 weeks, and you appear to have come back with less money than you left with. Would you care to explain yourself?
Like, so I know it
Mm,
was strange. It was strange, and then I was having my youngest, and just seeing him at 6 months and thinking, I can't remember her like that, even though there's only 19 months between them.
yeah,
Just the development seems so big than that. So
yeah.
yeah, like the difference in development. But yeah, like it just shows how quickly time flies, how quickly they
Oh
develop
man.
in short spaces. Now,
Well, this is
when's your one? When's your one due?
December. So this
December.
coming December, yeah, around about December 13th is the due date. But Kate's gonna have an elective cesarean, so
Yeah.
I think it'll be a couple of weeks before that, which is handy actually because I'm busy. That's good for me. That's a I'm joking. Everyone, listen, I'm joking. What I've noticed this time around because mine, so my other boys are 31 and 26,
Yeah.
and I remember. So it was early 90s. It was 1991, 92
Yeah.
when we were going through the first pregnancy. Man, you have no idea how different things are in 30 years.
Imagine. I don't
Like,
imagine.
oh, dude, the amount of information that's available now. Like, I don't know how we coped before the internet. This is before the internet. It's before
Yeah.
mobile phones. Proper dark ages stuff, man.
Yeah.
Even down to the thing of, and I've said this already, but when you needed something in the middle of the night, you're like, oh shit, I need this, or my partner Lisa, the mother of my kids, she was like, I really I need you to get me like Chewits and a bag of coal or whatever it was, or a salmon and a milkshake, and you were like, fuck, and you're trying to find a
Yeah.
24-hour garage because there wasn't like 24-hour shops. It just
And
wasn't a
even then,
thing.
you'd be able to search and find one. You'd have to have known exactly where one was.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You
it was
gotta go.
gone.
Oh, there's a garage out by the A2.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to go, and then I have to like ride my bike because I couldn't drive at the time.
I mean, hoping it's still open, hoping it's still there. Nothing's
Yeah,
changed. You haven't seen it you haven't been down that way for like 6 months. Like it's yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy. Just things we take for granted now. Like I always joke with my niece that she's like 21,
mm,
and I always say to her like, oh yeah, when you meet your mates, like you'll coordinate with your phone and stuff. And people have said this stuff on stage and that, but it's so true. Like you'll coordinate with your phones. I remember meeting my mates at the bus stop midday, be there at 12. That's what
Yeah,
time you have to be there. And you've just like you've messed around in the morning. You get there at 10 past 12 and your mates ain't there. Now
yeah,
you've got to make a decision now. Have they got on the bus and they've already headed into town? Do you just get on the next bus and head into town and hope they're there waiting for you?
yeah,
Or do you just turn around and go home and be like, ah,
yeah.
that's it, I ain't gonna see him. And you think, and you just be like, fuck it, I'm going. I'm going.
Yeah.
And you just head into town and you're walking around the town centre. Thinking, I hope I see my mate somewhere. Like I'm just gonna walk, just keep on walking in circles. Like I might see
Yeah.
them, might not. Spend like 4 hours walking around on your own, like alone.
It was
Look,
that, yeah. Oh, just yeah, like you say, you just go right. Yeah, I'm going to have to make a decision. And if it was something, if it was somewhere where we'd go ordinarily, you go, all right, I
yeah,
know where they probably are.
yeah,
And so if you, yeah, you like we used to hang around in the wreck, and
yeah,
then you get up there, and then they weren't there. You're like, all right, they might be up on the estate. So then
yeah.
you go up on the estate, and then they go, and then you see one of your other mates from school. And you're like, have you seen Tom and everyone? I went, oh yeah, he's up. They're up by the shops at LG Drive. You go, all right. So you end up walking up there, and then someone, no, they ain't there. Ah, fuck, ain't it? Back to the wreck, and they're there. You go, fuck's sake.
They don't know the pain. They don't know the pain of
No, exactly. They just go like, and well, now what they'll do is like, oh, I'm not coming, and they'll like straight away text, oh, I can't
yeah,
make it,
can't make
and
it.
you're like,
Yeah,
mate,
yeah. Because that's me. You could have done all of that, and you go home and you see them on Monday at school. Like, oh, where are you sat? They go, oh yeah, no, didn't even go out. It's like, oh, yeah, I was looking for no one.
yeah, yeah, it was indoors the entire time. I remember, yeah, it was different when because we used to go to this place called the Civic on a Friday night. So this is when I was still at school, and
Mm,
that's when you'd have like a DJ, and it was like a young person's nightclub kind of thing. It'd be done by 11,
yeah,
and we used to just pile up there. So you knew if you didn't if you didn't go up there with anybody, you knew there'd be people up there. So you'd be like, so there was that was a bit more. You understood everyone was going to the Civic,
yeah,
so we knew that. But yeah, just randomly hanging out, just it's so it just yeah, and then trying to find a phone box that wasn't vandalised, and then
yeah.
trying to find a 10p when 10p's was big as a bin lid, and it's just this is how it starts. This is how we sound like old pricks.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to think like what is their thing going to be like when they're now our age, they're older, like in their 30s, 40s, 50s. What are they going to be telling their kids? Like, oh, you don't understand. You didn't have this, didn't have that. Because I generally can't imagine it. Because like the mobile phone has just so much shit in it. There's
Yeah,
so much
yeah,
power
yeah,
in that device that I can't imagine what they're going to be telling their
mate.
kids of what they've missed out on. But
It's gonna
it's,
be it's gonna be like you kids, you didn't know what it was like back in our day.
yeah,
We had to physically press the button on the phone to send a
yeah,
message. Now you just think it and it goes straight to your mate's brain.
yeah, exactly.
And then we had to walk around to people's houses. You were your fucking teleporting here, there, and
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's gonna be that. It's gonna be stuff like that.
You don't even know. We had to decide what we were going to wear, pick it out of the wardrobe, physically put it on. Whereas
Yeah,
you just download it onto yourself.
I
You
mean,
go,
we
oh, I
had to
fancy
chew our
wearing that.
food. We had to chew our
Yeah,
food.
chewing our food. You don't know what it's like, man. That when you need and having to hydrate, mate. Yeah, yeah, we used to drink water. Yeah. I know it sounds weird now, but you're 98% water. That's why. Yeah. No, I know it just goes in you when you plug yourself in at night in your capsule.
I mean, yeah, I can't imagine, but it's going to be interesting though. It is going to
Yeah.
be interesting to see how they grow up. Yeah, and I
It's
was saying,
yeah. Yeah, go on.
no, I was saying as well, just like and just the different world they're growing up in as well, like bullying and stuff. Yeah,
Mm,
like I remember that growing up, you have like a few pricks in your area, a few pricks at school, and if you wanted to avoid any trouble, you just don't go to that particular park.
yeah.
We just
Yeah,
didn't go
yeah,
to that.
yeah.
You just
Yeah.
didn't go. That's
Yeah.
it. And then like anything that embarrassing happened to you as well. I remember I went to school with people who like pissed themselves, shat themselves, got beaten up by a kid like 3 years younger than them, all that kind of
Mate.
humiliating stuff, and all that is just trapped in my
Yeah.
memory, and another, and even my mates who are there, they can't even remember it. They're like, no, I don't really remember that happening to that kid, but it's gone, right? But now everything's on the phone, straight to the cloud. You've gone home,
Yeah.
you want to lock yourself away. Now it's posted online. You've been tagged in something. You're that kid who got
Mate.
beaten up. It's like it's a completely different world. It's a completely different world, man. Like,
It's
I
honestly,
do feel for them.
yeah, God, yeah, it's awful. Like, yeah, like with like you say, you go to school and there's the fella that keeps boot. As soon as you see him, like, all right, I'm gonna get my head kicked in, but I'll just let it happen.
Yeah,
Just get it done, let him fuck off, and then I'm gonna go and then I'll go and bully someone else, take it out on them. That's the food chain. But but when I saw someone, I know I'm like, why are you reposting this? It
yeah,
doesn't do anything for you to repost a bullying video. You're
yeah,
not helping anyone. It makes me want to find out where that person is that's been bullied and go around the house and beat up the parents of the bully.
yeah,
It makes me want to go, right, this is on you. You should be
yeah, yeah,
talking to because you can see what they're fucking doing now.
yeah,
Whereas when we were growing up, it was like, he's picking on me. And then he'd be, yeah, but he's picking on me. And then no one knew who was what. But now
yeah,
you go, like, that's clearly your kid. Sort your fucking kid out.
yeah, yeah,
It makes me angry, man. I
yeah.
hate bullies and I hate injustice. I can't handle
Yeah,
it.
and I'm not sure how I'm going to cope with it, because I was saying that my missus, she's a teacher, so she's really good at talking to kids
Yeah,
and talk to them in a way that is like, it's intimidating, but it's not inappropriate, right? Like,
yeah,
it's, they get the message. Like, even if my daughter, like, to be at a play group, another kid will take her toy, and she's like, no, you don't take toys, you share. She was playing with that, so you give it back, you say sorry, and you see the other person's parent, the kid's parents see it, but think, well, she hasn't really crossed the line there. But I don't
wow.
know how to do it, so it's either 0 or 100 for me. So it's
Same.
either
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I console my daughter, but let's just get another toy. Come on, it's all right. Let's just let's move on. And my wife's like, no, she needs to see that you're going to like defend her and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I've let it slide a few times. I remember we was at this, we was at like a zoo, everything like the play area, and this she's like, again, she was like, before she was 2, this kid's about 8,
yeah.
just started like patting her head. I was like, what's this kid doing? Like, and I could
Mm.
see she was like, didn't know what was going on. And he just kept on just patting her head. So when he came down the slide, I was like, right, remember what your missus told you? You got to like talk to the kid, be assertive. I was like, yeah, all right. The kid come down the slide. I was like, listen, mate, you see, you just touched a little girl. Don't touch her again, all right? And he was like, I'm sorry. And he just left the play area. And I was like, yeah, I
Good.
think I did that well.
Yeah, I'd have leaned in and gone, I will fucking end you. Just quietly whisper in his ear, I will fucking end you.
I mean, I told my missus, I was really proud. Like, "Look, this is what I did." She's like, "No, Darren, no, no, you
You know, it's
threatened a
cool.
child. You did." I was like, "Did I? Oh, sorry, I did it." I did.
Yeah, you out there. He might totally. That kid never leave the house again. Just scared.
So yeah, I was like,
You probably made him a massive racist as well.
you know what I mean? I was just thinking that. I go, that kid hates black people now.
Now he hates black people. Yeah. You go, what's that kid's problem? Like years ago, someone's dad just went, wait, fucking
He's gonna
packages.
be he's gonna be set in front of a therapist, and they're like, "What was your first interaction with a black person?" It's like,
He said he'd follow me home and burn my house down.
and from that day, I was scared of black people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't help it. I can't help being a racist. Just like to point out that's not the case.
No,
A
no.
lot of players, people are just racist for no fucking reason. Just anyone messaging in. Actually, I get it. It's just we're making light of a horrible situation.
Yeah,
Man,
man.
so where did you grow up?
So yeah, I grew up in Essex. Grew up in Essex,
Yeah.
in Harlow, Essex. So
Ooh,
yeah, so
how was that? Because
it was
Harlow's got a
interesting.
yeah,
It was interesting because it's like, I think people look at Essex now, and Towie has changed the mental image of Essex. But I'm from the shithole part of Essex, so it's not the nice teeth and fake tads. There's a bit of that, but it's yeah, it's weird. It's a post-war new town, so everyone's granddad is from or grandparents from East London. They knew the
right.
craze, and that everyone's odd.
Oh yeah,
Everyone's everyone's granddad fought
yeah.
in the war. It's
I
like,
should
no,
drive for the craze. Did you?
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah. So I used to drive with Craze, and then I was in World War Two, and now I moved to Harlow. He's like, oh, right, okay.
Now working the Asda.
So it's like, yeah, new town. Like all my family, either from Jamaica, but London though first. So always I spent a lot of my weekends either in southeast London, like
Mm.
Lewisham and stuff, or northwest London, like around Kensal Rise and Kilburn and stuff.
Oh no,
So
yeah.
yeah, so it was always between those three places, just Harlow, growing up, school and stuff, and then southeast London or northwest London.
Yeah.
And it was fine. It was a weird one because I joke about on stage being like proper minority, and like I only one of the few black kids in my school. Yeah, you know the comedian Johnny Cochran.
Yeah,
Me
yeah,
and
yeah.
him, we went to school together.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so him and he's got one sister and two brothers, and
Right.
literally because there were so few black people, everyone used to think I was a Cochran as well. they
Oh,
just, they just
the
assumed.
brothers, the
Yeah, they
brothers.
just assumed. It's like, you must be related. No, cousins? Like, no, we're not related. It's like, oh. And he's one of those. It's strange. Like, so I had a kind of positive experience being a black kid growing up in that environment because one, being such a minority, it was almost like non-threatening
Mm.
to like the white
Yeah,
majority. Ignorant things were said, but not much things were actually said out of malice. Um, it was just an assumption that you was good at sport, you was hard,
yeah, yeah.
and it was that kind of thing. And then yeah, and then what would happen is as well is people would assume you knew other black people as well, and
Oh, well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's funny because it was true. So like you would openly. So like someone see, like, you might know my mate Michael from my cricket team. I was like, why do I know your mate Michael? Let me guess, because he's black. And they're like, no, but he is. And they go, all right, what's his name? And it's like, Michael's like, Hunter. I was like, yeah, so his mum's my godmother and my mum's his godmother. It's just like, you've got that one spot on there. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is, we know each other. And that's all it was. And then like everyone's generated, like, so if you saw an older black person, you just assume, oh, they probably know my mum or they probably know my
yeah,
dad. And they invariably did. So you had like a nice little community as well. Yeah, so I just, so, and because of that, kind of grew up kind of like, just comfortable in my own skin and comfortable being a
mm,
bit different to other people and stuff. And
yeah,
if anything, the irony is when I was actually going into London to like with my cousins, where it was more black people. That's when I felt a bit out of place. Then
right.
I felt out of place then because growing up then there was a kind of I guess a prescribed idea of what blackness was, and it was
Mm.
London. Like even if you was black and from Birmingham, if you met someone who's black and from London, they would take the piss out of the guy from Birmingham. It's like, you're not black. And it's like, there's a lot of black people in Birmingham, mate. It's like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, but it's like that kind of London. It's almost like it's like how African Americans are to the rest of the world and other black people.
right,
They would
right,
look
right.
at people from Africa and be like, they ain't black. And it's like, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think that's what like black Londoners are like around, like to other black people around the country. And so yeah, so that's when I felt a bit disjointed and a bit out of place then. But so as you get older, you understand why those things are. You can
yeah,
reconcile it in your head. But yeah, but that's what I was growing up. Yeah, I've been
mate. Well,
in
it's
Harlow.
funny.
Yeah,
It's funny with that, like you say, the other black kid in the school, and you knew him, and there was Michael,
yeah,
who was, you just happened to know him as well. But I think
yeah,
that's when people talk about people coming over from other countries, and then the
mm,
first thing they say is, "Oh yeah, they come over here, they don't learn the language, they don't integrate." You go, well, because it's scary.
yeah,
So of course, and you'd be the same. That's why when you go to Spain, Doris, you
yeah,
hang out with Gary and you hang out with Clive
yeah.
because they're your people, and you
Are you
don't speak
looking for
Spanish.
an Irish bar? Are you looking for an
Yeah,
English
you go
bar?
for the things that are comfortable. You go
Yeah,
to the things that you recognise. You eat the food that you understand, because it's fear. You're scared to go out and explore. You're scared to go off on your own and go, right, I'm going to go to and find a tiny village in the mountains in Spain. I don't
yeah,
speak the language, but I'm going to figure it out. You're not going
yeah,
to do that. So then when people come over from Poland, of course they just stay together.
yeah,
It's a protection thing. And so the same with, like, especially when I was growing up, we only had one. There was one black kid in my school, Ronnie Ford, and
yeah,
and yeah, and Ronnie was the hardest kid in the school because he had to be.
Yeah.
It was an all boys school, and every day one of us was getting punched somewhere.
Yeah.
So of course he had to elevate himself. There was another kid called Fortune. Fuck me, could that boy run? Jesus Christ! And he used to pick on us. So I remember, so we were mucking around at the top of this hill. It's called
Mm.
Dyke Drive on one of the estates.
Yeah.
We're at the top of the hill, and we look down, and about half a mile away, we see Fortune and his mates, and they come around the corner, and we go, "Fuck, it's Fortune!" And then he fucking, well, 1 minute he's down the bottom of the hill, next minute he's with us, and we're like, the amount of time I'm like, "Fortune's coming," and we'd fucking leg it. But again, that was probably a fear thing. Like he had to prove
Yeah.
himself
Yeah.
because they were in the minority.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. Like of course, you're gonna know the other black kid in the school. It's not
Yeah.
because it just happened to be that it was your godmother or whatever it was. But
Yeah.
it's because it's a protection thing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
No,
So
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly
yeah.
that.
That integration, the thing about integration, yeah, they will do eventually, but you're not
Mm.
exactly very welcoming either, John,
Yeah.
with your Union Jack tattoo on your face.
Yeah.
Voting for these very people voting them out. They've only just got here, and you're going, nah, get them out. They don't
Get 'em out.
integrate. Well, you don't fucking ask them to integrate, do you?
You know what I mean? And then it's the cycle as well, because like now, like if you look at obviously racism and like anti-black racism still exists, but you do feel like that kind of that over visceral racism and xenophobia
Yeah,
towards black people in the UK is probably not there anymore. It's way more kind of subconscious and covert, but it's more a thing of it's like you said, it's Eastern Europeans and those guys coming to take the jobs. It's that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's that, and it's a thing of, well, it's because I guess black people are more integrated, more assimilated, and these people growing up disliking immigrants. Well, they grew up with black people as part of their environment. So like, well,
yeah,
they're meant to be here. It's like in
yeah,
their
yeah,
mind,
yeah. We're
they're
used
like,
to them now.
yeah, we're used to them now. So, and I guess what will happen in a few years' time. I guess my test is what I find is when we start seeing those names appear in the England football team. So when you start
Yeah,
seeing, I guess we've got Jagielka, Tarkovsky. So it's
it'll
coming
start.
through.
Yeah,
They
that's
come,
how. Yeah, when it starts when it's in a place that people understand.
yeah,
You go, oh yeah, now he's one of us
yeah,
because
exactly.
he's wearing our shirt, so now he's one of us.
That's what, yeah, like same with like the
Yeah,
football thing about when people talk about like gay footballers and stuff. I was like, I just know how it would be. It's a gay footballer, like, should they come out, shouldn't they? I was like, this is what will happen. If a gay footballer is good at football, his team, his supporters will love him.
yeah, yeah.
And they'll probably sing songs on the touchline that they think are supportive but are wildly homophobic. Like,
Yeah,
you
I can
know what I
just
mean?
even. I've just had one going through my head. I'm like, don't say it out loud
Yeah, I mean, but they'll
because
probably say,
yeah,
they'll say all crazy things like, "I'd let him fuck me too." You know what I mean? Just
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
it'll
yeah,
be all
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It'll be the away fans who'd be getting on him in a homophobic way, and yeah, and it wouldn't be great, but I can imagine that's what it'd be like. And a similar thing with any kind of other group. It's like, and it shouldn't be like that, but it's like, oh, until that person kind of shows their merit
Yeah.
to the group, it's like, all right, they're one of the good ones, they're all right,
Mm,
kind of thing.
yeah.
And, yeah, and I remember that kind of feeling growing up of, oh, you're actually all right. That's
Yeah.
not, that's,
Yeah.
that
Well,
having said,
it's that it takes a while
yeah,
for acceptance, and there's this thing that people just assume overnight
mm,
everybody's going to be on board. Everyone's going to understand it all. There's
yeah,
no kind of understanding of like we all need to transition. So yeah, once people who are gay in football start coming out,
mm,
yeah, there's going to be some pushback, and they go, oh fucking, there's going to be that.
yeah,
But you have to judge. And I know it's horrible, and I know, and I'm
mm,
saying it's easier for me to say that than for
yeah, of
these people
course,
to actually do it. But when they start happening, and they all start happening, they're going to have so much support from the people like us that
yeah,
actually want these changes. That it eventually will get to a point where it just no one will give a fuck. It just has
yeah,
to. We just have to get through that horrible bit, and it is a working class thing, I think, of taking the piss.
yeah,
It's not right, but it's like as I've talked about this before, where
Yeah,
if they're taking the piss, it's because they like you.
yeah.
It's when they're
That's the
not
thing.
taking the piss. That's when you got to. So all these songs. I mean, I remember years ago, my mate took me to see Brighton and Hove v Wrexham. He's a Wrexham
Right.
fan. Before they had billionaires looking after him,
Yeah,
and no disrespect to people at Wrexham either. It's a fucking
yeah,
great show. I love it.
yeah,
But I remember seeing years ago, and because my mate's gay, and he was going, look, just so you know, Wrexham Welsh team. So there's going to be a lot of anti-English stuff aimed at Brighton. Just and I'm like, look, I don't know, I understand. Don't worry about that. Anyway, so I'm sat there. I've never heard so many homophobic songs because
yeah,
it's Brighton. So they're
yeah,
just going for it. The Wrexham fans, just honestly, it was funny and inventive, but at the same time, we go, if this was if this was away from the football, it'd be fucking even worse.
yeah.
I'm not saying it's a good thing,
No,
but it was meant with humour and things like that, and
yeah,
yeah, and then they were shouting sheep shaggers and all that shit, and and it isn't right. I get it, but it's that thing in it. If they're taking the piss, it's because
yeah.
they like you, and it's
Yeah, and it's a strange bit is like because I've grew up in that environment of I don't know, I feel I have like a good barometer and a good gauge.
mm,
If I'm like in a pub and I'm like only or one of few like ethnic minorities in the pub and people start giving banter. And if I'm with like a mate who's black who's maybe from London, so he's ready to go.
yeah,
He's ready to
yeah,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what they fucking like what they take the piss, what this and I was like, mate, it's all right, it's fine, it's fine. But I think I have a good barometer to go, no, it's fine, it's fine. No, actually, no, that one word. Okay, no,
yeah.
that was from somewhere else. That one.
Oh
Okay,
right.
it's time. I think it's time for us to go. So let's just
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can know, yeah, you know
you
when
can
it's
tell that.
changed.
Yeah, you can tell what's that bit of banter. What's that? All right, I might have to eat that one. I didn't like that one, but all right, fine.
Yeah, yeah. And
But
then
yeah,
you go, hang on a minute, that's getting a bit much now.
yeah,
Yeah, but isn't it? But this is the thing, and it must get exhausting as a person of color. Even that
yeah,
phrase, I don't even know if
yeah.
that sounds fucking weird to me. I've said that on here. I had a whole chat about that because it just feels odd.
Mm.
Like it sounds patronising to me. I don't know.
No,
I don't know, but
no, but no, it's similar. Literally, someone posted the other day about the word BAME, the term BAME. It was a
yeah,
black woman. I think she works in diversity and inclusivity, and she was like, they're doing a workshop and they're trying to work out, is that phrase embraced by black people? Do black people like it? Do they have any alternatives and
mm,
whatever? And for me, it's just like all BAME means to me is non-white British.
yeah,
That's what it
yeah.
means. That's all it means. And then, and then I said, that's what it means to me. So I'm not really fussed by it, but it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And then someone goes, yeah, but if you say non-white British, then you're centering white British people and you're othering. I was like, I don't really know what the point of the term is. I don't get it. Like,
No.
and that's me as a black person
Yeah,
not
yeah,
getting
yeah.
it. And then if you're a white person, you end up in front of a microphone, in front of a camera, saying, I don't get it. People are like, oh, yeah, you should. And it's
Oh
like, well, no,
yeah,
not really.
yeah,
It's not. It's not really because I don't get it, and
no.
it's the term's meant to be for me, and I don't. Uh, I, I don't get
But it must
it.
be
So
exhausting.
yeah, it is.
And
It
the
is.
thing, and it's the fact that you know every day you're having to have a conversation about race,
Yeah.
and you're like, why is it my fucking job to police this? Like
It,
again, like you're in the pub with your mate, and you're putting up with a bit of banter. And, oh, well,
yeah.
all right, they don't mean, and then you hear that horrible thing, and then you've got to make the decision to leave, and
Yeah.
you've got to make the decision not to get involved, and you've got to make the decision not to
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
something or do say something, and it's not, it shouldn't. And now, like you and I, when I got in here today, I'm like, right, I'm not going to talk about race. I'm not going to talk about
Then
it
I
today.
started talking about
No, no, no.
it.
But that's it. But it must be because it's so, it's like talking again since all this Russell Brand stuff that's come out.
Yeah.
Um, talking to women about sexual assault this week.
Yeah.
So the other day, when it all started out, I mean, we've known about it for years, and we were all talking
Yeah.
about it, and then because the other day when it all came out. And so conversations were starting to be about
Yeah.
other names in our comedy
Yeah.
industry. back and forth, and there's been phone calls and text, and we're all shouting at each other. And I got bollocked online a couple of times, and then I was getting into things, and then it,
yeah,
you know, and then I was sat down with my wife, and she was sat there, and I was like, and she just started to cry. She just burst into tears. I'm like, "Are you all right?" She went, "This is all this stuff it's just ripped the scab off of something that I haven't thought about for sort of 10 years, or I
jeez.
haven't dealt with properly in 10 years, and it's fucking horrific, and I'm exhausted, and I'm tired of talking about sexual assault and nothing happening. Like the guy
Yeah,
that did it to me, he's got away with it. He just gets. I have to keep the peace, and I have to not rock the boat. And I'm like, fuck, of course.
yeah,
So then, so all this stuff this week that's coming out, it's now creating. It's upsetting the women that have been attacked, and
yeah,
it's nearly every woman or most women. Every woman's had something shit happen to them. So
yeah,
talking women about sexual assault and talking to black people about race all the time.
yeah,
You must get to a point and go, I don't want to fucking talk about it.
yeah.
You talk about it. Why don't you
I
stop
mean,
being racist? Talk to your
yeah.
racist mate.
It's a weird one because it's like I'm on the because I know a lot of black people have that view of it shouldn't be me talking about it, you should talk to your white mate who gets it. But I'm also of the belief that being black's a part of me, like being a woman's a part of women and stuff. And if anyone's gonna be able to represent the story or the perspective best, it's got to be me, right?
Yeah.
Like I'd rather someone ask me an ignorant question and take the risk of sounding racist and
Mm,
saying something off key to me because I can take it and I'm fine. And I
yeah.
like to take people in best faith. So you ask me something and it does sound a bit off key. I'm not like you're racist and you're shunt. Like, yeah, I mean, get out. It's like, oh, like, by the way, what you said there is not the way of saying it, but look, let's have a conversation about it. I'm happy to do it. And but I do understand why people get a bit tired of it. But because I'm happy to do it, I then ask women questions.
Mm,
So now I'm in the other position now. I'm now the not the bad guy because it's not good or bad, but I'm now the person asking that question from the place where I don't really get it,
yeah.
and then I'm having to take the risk, and then yeah, and it's a coin toss, isn't it? Like some women you ask, and they'll be like, "Yeah, do not know what you're saying is wrong. That's actually quite a misogynistic attitude because of this, and oh, how's that misogynistic?" And they'll explain why. I'm like, "All right, yeah, I kind of get what you mean." And then you ask another woman, and she'll be like, "Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
This is the reason. You're part of the problem. You asking this question is a
Yeah.
part of the problem." It's like I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to like what. So I have empathy for uh, a white person who hasn't grown up around black people,
Yeah.
doesn't know anything. Like everyone just assumes you must know. Surely you know. It's like no, people don't. Everyone's got their own shit sandwiches they're eating, and they
Yeah.
don't know they don't know what other people's taste like. So if they have actually taken the time to go, do what? Let me put my shit sandwich down. Let me ask you a question about your one.
Yeah.
It's you should have just flipped the plate over. I'll fuck off. It's like, oh, actually, oh, fair enough. You've asked me a question. Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's it. It's
it's
the
not
intent. It's the
yeah.
intent. I
And so,
remember. It's only since doing comedy. I mean, like I'm 20 years in nearly,
mm,
and it's only since doing comedy that my worldview has changed. I had kids when I was 19, 20, so
mm,
I was doing that from a very
yeah,
early age. So I didn't. And I wasn't very academic. I've said this loads on it, but so I didn't really listen at school. I don't remember being told about the fact that Africa. I remember being Africa was a continent, but then I
yeah,
didn't realise that there was all these different countries. It didn't occur to me. It's like that's
yeah,
Africa, that's Australia, that's this, that's that.
yeah,
So it's only since doing comedy I'm like, oh yeah. So there are people from Somalia look like that, and then people from somewhere else they
yeah,
look like that, and people
yeah, yeah,
from New Guinea look like that. And it's only through comedy, because before it was like they're black people, this is white people, they're
yeah,
Chinese, and they're even down
yeah,
to like Asian people.
yeah,
It's like they're Vietnamese, but they're from Nepal, they're from somewhere else. And you're going, and that's comedy has done that for me. It wasn't
yeah.
school.
No,
And that took me,
I
that
think
took me that took me 30 years to get to that point.
what that is that thing of the exposure to people from these different places, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's the thing. You got people online talking about BLM and it'd be like a white guy from somewhere, some village up north, and he's never even met a black person. So
No.
he's just talking from this point. I don't know this group, but I've got an opinion on it, and I think that's all things. Like even I think I've got enough like perspective to think I'm not like the most switched on I could be, but I think I'm way more switched on than I was 10 years ago.
Yeah, same.
And I think about myself like I started uni. If someone was to ask me at the beginning of uni, like, "Are you homophobic?" I'm like, "No, of course I'm not." I mean, I call everything gay because it's funny, but I'm not. I'm not
Yeah.
homophobic. And then it was really easy for me to say I'm not homophobic because I hadn't actually met or spent any time with any gay people. And then what I found when I did meet gay people at uni, I was just like a bit like, I don't really want to hang out with him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, why? Oh, it's because he's annoying. It's not because he's gay. It's because he's like, I'll layer something on top of it. And then it's only being at uni, actually hanging out with people, talking to people. And then it's just like, oh, actually, yeah, I probably was pretty homophobic when I first joined.
Yeah.
When I first joined uni. And it's only like I did a module at uni, literally called Sexualities. And they just asked like the simple question of going, "Oh, when did you first, encounter like homosexuality?" And I thought, oh, it's actually through soaps. I remember just like characters on TV and
Yeah.
stuff. I think it was Zoe Tate on Emmerdale was the first like
Right.
gay character I can remember. I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's like, and that was the first lesbian, first gay was like Simon and Tony on EastEnders having that kiss. I remember it being a big thing on,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, that was the first gay thing. And then it was like, I just asked all these questions, and I asked a really simple question about, now, when did you realize that you were when you were heterosexual? And I was like, I just always have been.
Yeah.
The other thing, I was like, aha! it was like this kind of wait,
Yeah.
there it is. There's that light bulb moment of going, they're not just being gay to annoy me.
It's just there. It's that they were gay, and
it's just
yeah.
they are they are gay. It's like, right. It's
Mate,
just how people are.
I've asked that question on here, where
Yeah,
and it's only when you think about it, you go, no, yeah, that was a fucking stupid question.
yeah. The thing, there's all these things. I remember,
Yeah.
I remember not knowing, because like growing up, Asian which what I now call South Asian, brown people,
Yeah.
and then it's go back to terms with the Chinese looking ones were Chinese kind,
Yeah.
and then it was then to correct me, going, no, I'm actually Korean. I was like, yeah, like Chinese.
Yeah. All that
And that's like,
ignorance, just because
yeah,
you haven't
and
really looked at, you
thought,
studied it.
yeah, and then you go, all right, then the word's Oriental, and then someone goes, oh, you can't use Oriental anymore. I was like, oh, what do I call them then? And it's like, and then someone's like, East Asian, like they're from the east of Asia. If you want to speak, I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. If
And it's
just
yeah.
say where they're from.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Just
yeah,
have a look. Just have a look. It's only that's the thing. We can. You could just
yeah,
Google it.
and it
And
just
yeah.
yeah, it just never crossed my mind until someone goes East. I was like, yeah, okay, I guess the guys who are youthful Asia are South Asian, yeah, and yeah, I guess yeah, look, that's really solved that issue.
Yeah.
Like, the answer's there all the time, but it's until you ask the question and you put your foot in it,
Yeah.
it's like you just don't know that, and then all that happens is people ask, like, not even the question they really want to ask. They ask like a little entry level question, get burnt, and go, I'm just not even going to approach that conversation again.
Yeah.
And they have all these ignorant ideas in their head just unresolved because that moment that they've built up in their head, like, oh, let me just ask this black person, what does this thing mean?
Yeah.
And they just
Yeah.
bit my head off. It's like, I'll just leave
It's that. It's that if you've got a good relationship with somebody,
it.
then it can be clunky, but you can just go, I don't really know much about that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Can you help me out? And
yeah,
9 times out of 10, they will. And
yeah,
it's online is the one. That's where
yeah.
it's the difficult. You can't ask online because
Oh, it's assessment.
there'll be some fucking knob with problematic hair giving you a fucking lecture. You go, shut up. I'm trying to do my best. I'm not being a dick. I've just said the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you look at the rest of what I talk about, I'm obviously not a fucking asshole. I'm not
Yeah.
being a knobhead. I don't need you to preach to me and patronise me.
No, I'm asking a question. I don't know the answer.
I
I'm
don't
asking
know
you.
the
Yeah.
answer. Yeah. So
Is it?
I'm trying to better myself so the world's a better place so we can all get along. I don't need you shouting at me over your fucking oat milk latte, you knobhead. There's going to be some complaints about that. Yeah, if you're upset about that, it's you I'm talking about. You know who you are. Pack it in.
But it's true. The internet is a horrible place. Like, well,
Yeah.
social media, like, and both extremes. Like, everything's just falling into this false dichotomy of left versus right. Like
Yeah, yeah,
everything,
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
absolutely everything. Stuff that when I saw some like a guy I work with, he referred to her. What do you refer? It made me laugh. I think I was drinking a tea, and he said like, "Oh, has it got like woke milk in it?" I was like,
Oh,
what does
yeah,
woke?"
yeah, yeah.
I was like, "What does
Yeah.
woke milk mean?" He goes, "You know what I mean," and I laughed, but I do actually know what you mean.
You know exactly what I've just said it. Oat milk.
Yeah, okay. So I was like, I do know what you mean, and yes, it's coconut milk. But it's that thing of like, I see, obviously, because I don't feel like I'm on either side, I can see the humour in both. But
Yeah.
it's like, it's crazy. It's proper crazy, man. Like, it'd be something as trivial as the weather. Weather. People they'll just be about the weather. They'll be like, the right would be like, it's the mainstream media and I don't trust it.
Yeah.
And then the left would be like, yeah, but it's a straight white man delivering the weather, so how can we trust it? Just like, what?
Meanwhile,
Or is
he's in the middle trying to tell the weather with his paper
yeah, it's like
straw and his
yeah,
woke
it's like
milk. Oh, just trying to.
yeah, but it's just like guys, it is pissing it down outside. That's all I'm telling you.
That's all I'm telling you. Look out
It's
your
really
window. You
cold.
don't even need me.
It's like- and like even with the Russell Brand thing,
Mm,
it's like it's just always just such extremes. Like for me, the middle thing is this: is the women have made accusations, and I think those accusations should be taken seriously and
yeah.
investigated. And from this point, that's it really. And
Yeah. Yeah.
but instead, it's on one side, it's all men are terrible and you're all predators, and you knew what was happening, you lot didn't do anything, and men don't protect us, and, da, da, da. And it's just like, well, I wasn't involved. And the other side is, yeah, again, it's the mainstream, it's the Matrix, they're coming after him, he's too close to the truth. And it's like, what is happening?
Mate. I know.
I was
And
like,
you're just sitting in the middle going, I'm just trying to pay the rent. I'm trying to do my bit. I'm trying to look after my kids. I'm trying to make sure we got money coming in and
yeah,
food on the table. And I,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. If I
So,
saw it in front of me, I'd do something. But
yeah, I mean,
sorry.
yeah, and it's that crazy, is that crazy thing. But yeah, we're all muddling through, aren't we? We're all
Mm.
trying to make it, trying to live the best we can, and trying to make life a bit less shit for our kids. So
That's all you can do. That's all you can do at the end of the day.
yeah,
Is just do your best. And you know, if you hear something in a green room, or you hear of somebody doing something, say, "Oh, I heard about this thing. Is this what's going on?"
mm,
And that's all you can do. You can't. I don't know what we can do. You got to get a van, go around, gather up all the people we've heard about being fucking wrong-uns,
yeah,
take them into a field. I don't know. Although I was so pissed off yesterday, I was losing my shit. I had a few phone calls with people, and then you know, I've had conversations with mates, and
mm,
we're all reflecting, and we're all talking about our own past indiscretions and things like that,
yeah,
and you're going, yeah, well, we are getting better, and we are, when you're younger, you're a fucking idiot, and you get pissed, and you're a bit handsy, and that sort of
yeah,
thing, and it's not right. But
no,
we're all talking about it, and and teaching our kids not to be that way. Like my boys are fucking legends. My lads,
yeah,
oh, top boys. They tell me how it is.
yeah,
Um, but I nearly lost my shit yesterday. I was going to put a video out going, just naming everybody. Go, right, I've had enough. These are the fucking names that keep popping up. Right, what's happening? Drop me a line. And I'm like, who the fuck am I to do that? Who do I think
Yeah,
I am? Just,
no,
I did. I calmed down.
no, but even that, like you talking about when you're younger and you know thinking about your past indiscretions, like that's another thing as well. It's like we don't allow that. I think that's part of the journey of learning, right? Is you
Yeah.
look back at your own behaviour and go, oh, because it's easy to look at all these people, oh, yeah, they're terrible. These blokes are terrible. But I've always said to my mates, I go, we're lucky, and I'll speak for myself as well. So we're lucky that those times you got hammered with a girl and you've gone back to her house and you've had sex and then you've woken up in the morning and fortunately for me, they've turned around and be like, oh, you're right, and
Yeah.
laughed off last night, and we've like, oh, okay,
Mm.
cool. Because it's very easily when you think back, it's like, well, she was hammered. I was hammered as well, but that's not how the law's written. And
No.
it's just like, yeah, and she could have woken up and be like, who the fuck are you?
Mm.
And now suddenly, what I thought was a great time last night is now a serious thing. And then if I
Yeah.
have to ask, have an honest conversation with myself, like, was she too drunk? Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. I mean, I was drunk, but that's not a reason. It's like,
No, no, no.
you know what I mean? And
But
it's
that's it. You're questioning it all, and yeah,
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 and so I feel like you question that, and I hope that no one ever sees that clip and goes, "Oh, he's a terrible bloke." But what I take away from that is right now I've got a son and I've got a daughter as well, and I'll be telling my son, especially my son, like, look, you might like the girl and stuff, and she might have given you the come on earlier in the night, but once she gets past a certain point, mate, you
mm,
drop her home, make sure she gets here safe, and just
yeah,
wait for another day. Just,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
just wait
yeah,
for another day. If she's on it, she'll be on it when she's sober. Like, just wait for another day, mate. Just
yeah.
like, you know what I mean. And that would be the advice I'd be
Mm.
giving my kids. But without like that kind of, I guess, the Me Too movement and having to actually ask yourself those questions, so I'd probably be like, lads would be lads, go out, get hammered, pick up birds, and
Yeah, I think it's that.
whatever happens, happens.
Well,
But
it's
it's
that. I
like,
mean,
no,
yeah. I mean, in that respect, it's that you're both pissed. You're both having a good time. You've both. It's still consensual.
yeah,
Even even when I've been hammered, you still
mm,
know if that person does or doesn't want to do something.
yeah,
There's this excuse of like, oh well, I didn't know and I was pissed, and you go,
yeah, yeah,
nah, you go, you fucking know. I remember
you know,
being with a woman years ago, and we were off. We were. It was back and forth, and she was like, "Yeah, I want to come back with you." And then I'm like, and then she was like, "Oh, but we're not doing anything." I'm like, "Yeah, fine." And we end up doing something, and then even then we were both fucking hammered.
yeah, yeah,
And then halfway through, she was like, "Nah." I'm like, "Oh, right, yeah, 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 right, okay."
yeah,
And then we just, we
yeah.
sort of finished it, for want of a better phrase, we finished each other off in different ways. Well, that's a horrible phrase. I do apologize,
Yeah,
but
there's no other way of saying
no, you know what I mean,
it.
right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
even then, and we were both hammered. We'd all been doing shots,
yeah,
and there was still that. No, she said no. That's
yeah.
that. And at any point, like if a person's in front of you, they could be stood in front of you, bollock naked, and then they still go, actually, I'm not feeling it. You
It's like a
still,
record. It
you're
was like a
done.
record scratch in my head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what it's
That's
like.
it.
It's like
Done.
we're having a break time. Just, it's like, oh fuck, the lights have come up in the club.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, yeah.
oh, everyone's I'm disappointed, but I'm like, ah.
Yeah, of course you are,
It's like,
because you're excited and you want to
yeah,
do it, and then whatever's happened, and she's just gone. Do you know what? Actually, I'm not
yeah.
feeling it, and then you got
But
to
the
go.
disappointment for me is because it really isn't happening now. I've accepted in my head it's not happening. That's why I'm
Yeah,
disappointed. There's no part of me going, oh, we'll try it. It's like, oh man, all right, fair enough, but I'm gutted.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like, oh, damn
And
it.
that's it.
It's like,
It's that, and it
yeah,
doesn't matter what the reason is. If they've said no at any
yeah,
point during what you're doing, they've gone, actually, I don't want to do that.
mm,
Then you go, all right. Let's think about blue balls and all that. It's like, oh, but we're here now, and you've got me all excited. It's tough shit, mate. Go and have a
yeah,
wank. Go and have a wank.
just fuck off. Just please fuck off. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah, and that's the thing. And like, I'll definitely, I mean, I would have hammered that bit home already, but I think just I'll be saying to my like, son, like, just even just a step back, just don't even like you just don't have to go for every opportunity. Like it's just
no,
it will come, mate. It'll come at another time.
yeah,
Just it's fine, and like I said, just even going through that it's an attitude thing. It's definitely an attitude change, and I think it's an attitude change of both men and women. I think women would educate younger girls to take fewer risks as well,
Yeah.
and that. And but even that, I think like me saying that, I know some people take that as a toxic perspective that I've said that I've put it on women kind of thing to take fewer risks. It's like no, I think we all have to
But yeah,
um,
that's the issue, isn't it?
take
It's
responsibility,
yeah.
right? Because I think sometimes I know like talk to women, and it's usually ended. The conversation ended well, about the threat of violence. And granted, the risk is higher for women for violence, and especially like sexual
Mm.
violence. But as guys, we don't like violent men either, and we're scared of them as
Yeah, of course we
well.
are.
And
Yeah,
like,
but the
yeah,
thing, I think the difference is what they're saying is why she, like you've just said, why is it on the women like that? And I
yeah,
remember growing up, and it was and I remember the grown-ups around us when
mm,
they talk about someone being attacked on the news or something, and they go,
what's she
well,
wearing?
why was she
Yeah,
wearing that? Why was she out that late? Why did she go to that bar? Why did she go on her own? Why did she do why? And it was all like,
yeah,
no point did they go, why did he rape her?
yeah, yeah,
Why did he feel it was all right to do that?
mm,
And that's where we're at now. It's like it's not on like when that horrible story about Sarah Everard that haunts me.
that's
I
that's the
fucking hate. I
the
can't. Every time I think about it, even now, I'm like, oh my god, what
yeah.
that fucking woman must have gone through is
And that's one of
awful.
those moments, right, where it's like doesn't matter how far that side you are, that's so like categorically
It's evil.
undisputedly like
Evil.
wrong and
Yeah.
evil. Like a police officer, like
I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's like, there's nothing she could have done
I can't
more
even,
correct. You know what I
mate.
mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
Even think of, yeah. I
it's
can't.
pure evil. It's
And
pure evil. It's like,
but I remember that there was talk about in the news going curfews for women. It was like, oh, women need to be off the streets at a certain
yeah,
time because it's not safe. And then someone went, "Are you taking the fucking piss?"
yeah,
What? So women don't do anything? I mean, don't listen. There are some women that are
yeah,
fucking arseholes, but that's different.
yeah,
They're not
yeah,
animals.
yeah,
Um, but it's that like what we just get women off the streets who are innocent,
yeah, yeah,
and then men get to just barrel around like, oh well, there's no women around the fuck now, so but we can still go out and have a pint, we can still go
yeah.
out and have a good time, whereas women are locked in their houses. No, men should have been. And I'll say this as well. I agree. If it got to that point where there's enough men that are fucking ruining it for the rest of us,
Mm.
yeah, curfew till we sort it out.
yeah,
Curfew till we've had a word with these fucking animals and go, right, because of you, I can't go out and play football, or I can't go to the cinema, or I can't do this, I can't do that. So,
yeah,
so I'm going to cut your bollocks off, and then we're going to go out. Like it's that, it's on us. It's on
yeah.
us men to sort this out.
Yeah, it's the thing. I'd say so too. And it's a weird one. That how do you deal with it? Because like the same way that I was saying, like I was speaking to my missus, she was saying that
Mm,
about going home from like say a train station to your house, and do you avoid the park and stuff because it's dark and stuff? She's like, yeah, and I go, as a guy, I'd avoid the park as well. I go,
mm,
the number of threats are different to me, but I'm still apprehensive going to the park. I've taken a headphone out. I don't walk around thinking nothing's going to happen to me,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, and stuff like that. And I go, right, but what would make me feel safer? And it's this weird thing, right? Because like these are violent, horrible men, and you kind of need violent, good men. It's like,
Yeah,
it seems terrible, right? Like that seems like to be the solution, and then I end up sounding quite Andrew Tatey. Then, like if you start saying
you
things like
can't.
that,
Yeah, and that's the thing.
you
But
know
you
what I mean?
can't talk to these people. You can't sit them down and go, mate. These
Yeah,
sexual assaults.
I've,
You got to knock that on
you
the
need to
head,
stop
mate.
that. They're like, you know what? Yeah, now you've spoken to me about it. I've had to think
Yeah.
about it. I want to stop that. No, you almost need someone who's bigger and badder, but it's got better intentions to be like, I am going to punch your fucking head off,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah, yeah.
If
I'm
you
gonna
even
feed your
consider
own nuts to
following
you.
this woman home, yeah, go home, sit in your
Yeah.
house now.
Yeah,
Like
you're
it
not
was,
allowed out amongst us.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's it in the sense of most of us who are normal people aren't assaulting people in the street. Like I said, we're also just victims, but we happen to be men as well, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just like we're, and it's I don't know how you deal with it. And I guess those violent good guys are are the police. They're meant to be the police, right?
Supposed to be, yeah.
Those are the violent good guys who have the
I know a
legit.
couple. I know a couple of coppers, and they are legit, and they are. I
Yeah,
talk to them all the time, and then they're like, yeah, there was like our industry, like we know the names,
yeah.
and we do talk
Well,
to them, and they are getting investigated, and things are happening, but short of taking them outside and giving them a good shoeing, we don't know what to do.
yeah. One of my good mates, he's a copper as well, and similar thing. He gives the he gives you lots of off the record chats,
Mm,
and yeah, and he hasn't been an officer for that long. He was corporate world before, and he decided I want to be a police officer.
yeah,
So very, very smart guy and stuff, and they wanted him to go straight into like detective level. He's like, no, I want to actually get on the street and
do
do
something.
it
Yeah,
properly
right.
and see what it's all about.
Yeah,
Because eventually I might go up there, but yeah, and he tells me, and he's just like, yeah, he goes, I guess because what's good about him is he's got a worldly view as well. He's a white guy. From the outside, you wouldn't think he has this worldly view, but he's proper switched on guy, and yeah, and he's just telling me just how difficult it is
mm,
to police and how disappointing it is for members of the force when a police officer does step out of line or does do something wrong.
yeah,
And he just realised, yeah, go if officers are like anything like my mate, I'm like, they generally are just trying to just do better. I think most police officers join because they think they're going to make a positive
yeah, yeah, yeah,
difference. I think
yeah.
other officers join because it's a respectable job and there's nothing else they're doing. And then there's others who got bullied at school, and
Yeah,
it's a mix of those guys, and it's just like, right, who's going to make it to the top? Kind of thing,
yeah. I like there's the couple that aren't of the two or three police that I know.
yeah,
Yeah, legitimately want to make a difference, and
yeah,
one in particular, my mate Rich, and he and I have had massive conversations, and he messages me. Um, when he was messaging me when it was kicking off, and like there was like defund the police and do this and that.
mm,
And he was messaging me going, it's so frustrating because I see where everyone's coming from. He goes,
yeah,
but the ones of us that are actually trying to do something, like we can't. It's difficult to. We're in. There's. There's. It's hard to do anything from the inside. It's like we can only just do our jobs. And if we
mm,
see something that's going on, something bad, then we have to. We can say something. But unless we see it or aware of
yeah,
it, we can't. You can't just say to your mate, "Oh, are you sending shitty texts to people?" Because it
yeah,
doesn't work like that.
yeah.
It's a
Because
really difficult. These fucking people in all walks of life that are being cunts to people are making it difficult for everybody else.
I think
And
that's what you just said there.
yeah,
All walks of life.
yeah,
So police, like in my day job, there's people who are like that in the corporate world, just like you're such a prick.
yeah, 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 yeah,
It's like you're such a prick, and then there's other people just like in less consequential jobs and in comedy as well. It's just like you just speak to some people like always remember just even when I started. Just those guys, never the established comics, just the ones who are just a bit further along the road. We'll just
yeah,
see a new young female comic who's not funny. And I'm not saying that because she's a woman, saying like this particular comedian wouldn't be funny, but they will just take that girl under their wing
mm,
and just be like, yep. You see, they're always on the same gigs together. It's like he just wants to shag her. He just wants to shag her. He just wants to shag her.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just like,
Seen that.
and then as soon as they've finished, now this girl doesn't get booked to places. It's just like, you arsehole.
Yeah,
You're an arsehole, mate. I'm like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
just you could have just left her alone. You could have just left her alone. Or if you genuinely liked her, fine. You genuinely liked her, but you just know you didn't. You
yeah.
picked her. She's naive. You're an arsehole.
So
As up
this is the thing. These are the conversations I've been having this week.
then.
Well, and before we've had these conversations before, where some of the older comics will take advantage of the new comics coming in.
Yeah,
And you're like, mate, and it's always lower down. Because I said this as well. I was like, well, it doesn't happen in the green rooms I'm in. And I'm
yeah,
like, well, it won't do, will it? It doesn't happen in front of you. It's not going to,
yeah,
because you're sat there. So they're not going to do it while you're sat there.
yeah. Exactly.
And then I think what happens is these creeps, most of the time they get sort of weeded out as they progress into the industry.
Yeah,
So the
yeah, yeah,
lower down clubs, when it's the new act night, seems to be more
yeah.
it's
It's
more
there.
rife.
is there. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's right. Yeah, because it's exactly that. It's those new act nights where it's just like, so weren't you? And it's funny, like those same like comics never seem to have a girlfriend outside of comedy.
no,
They always just have that's just it's like the newest new new and up and coming. It's the newest.
mate.
Oh, she's a new act. She's done 3 gigs. That's my type. She's done, you know what I mean? It's like
She's vulnerable.
it's
I've made her
yeah,
promises. Yeah,
exactly. And the female comic comes who fucking knows what she's on, switched on. There's you see them just kind of divert, go different ways. I'm
mm, I don't need
not
to.
trying to no,
I don't need to
yeah,
hang around with
not a
that
chance.
fucking bin fire of a human being. But it is. But we're
So yeah,
having. But we are chatting and we are talking about it, and we
yeah,
are, again. Like someone pointed out to me, they went, this is not a time to be, shouting and hollering. This is a time. It is time for reflection and thinking about your own behaviours. Because I know conversations
yeah,
I've had with other comics, and they're like, yeah, but people are scared to kind of speak up because they're worried that their past behaviours will be brought into question. And you go, look, we've all been pricks at some time.
yeah,
I've been a lying, cheating piece of shit in my time.
yeah, yeah.
But I didn't want to be that. I don't know why I was being that. It was obviously reasons, and but that doesn't make it right. But
But I think
going
it's a cultural
forward,
thing.
you
I think
go
it's a
like, that's
cultural
not what
thing.
I'm doing. Yeah,
I think it's
I think
it's
so.
like it was cool, wasn't it? As a guy, you you behaved like you cheat or large or say to my missus like before her, like you cheat on a girlfriend, or your mate would cheat on their girlfriend, and it's funny.
Wow,
It's on
I
that.
see now. That's different. I didn't think it was that. I was
See this.
just more.
I was,
Yeah.
so this is what it was for my like group mates was younger. So it's funny. It's like it's funny. We was on a night out. Da, da, da. And then it's only as you get older now, and you like now we've got kids and we're married and whatever. If any of my mates was even talking to another woman now, it would be a hand on the shoulder, like, "You right, mate?"
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah. Yeah.
just chatting to this person." Like, "You sure?
Yeah.
You sure? Shall we go outside? Shall we have some fresh air, mate? Yeah." So I'm not going to watch my mate blow up his family
No.
because he's had a few too many drinks. No, we're going outside. You could have a go at me. Go, I won't go do anything in the cab. It's like, shut up. Get in the car. Get in the cab. You stupid prick.
Yeah. Do you think that is a
And the
cult?
next
Do you think
one,
it's a cultural thing? Yeah.
I think
So
so. I think like,
I remember talking to Quincy, is another
yeah,
comic we
yeah, yeah.
know, and I remember talking to him on his radio show, and I was saying, but you don't have to try it on with every single woman that's in the room. And he was going, yeah, but when you get to a place and there's like bare girl everywhere, and I'm like, yeah, no, but why, what is it you're trying to do? What are you trying to
Yeah.
do? And that may be a cultural thing, maybe. I mean, I think white men are more fucking sneaky. I think
Yeah.
I think black men are kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna. I want to have sex with you. I have sex with you. And whereas white men are like, oh no, I've got my partner, and I don't know anything. And then meanwhile, they're sending texts and they're being all creepy and shit and cloak and dagger and all that. I mean, that may be it. White men are more sneaky,
You were speaking of it.
whereas
But I think, yeah, I
black
just,
men are more out, blatant. Like, yeah, you and you in the car, and like, whereas, yeah,
but I think like,
maybe I
yeah,
might be wrong.
I don't, but I think like even like across race, maybe just like a male thing, maybe not even a male thing. I think women probably have a. I don't. It's just like I just know at a certain age, I didn't discourage my mates misbehaving, and then I got to a certain age where I'd done it myself and really had to think about being like it's not bad behaviour to do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, if you don't want to be, if you're going to cheat, so just don't be with them and just move on. And then I was like, right. And because of that, I had that kind of reconciliation with myself. I was like, yeah, I probably should like look out for my mates as well if they're looking like they're going to do that as well. And
Mm,
I've make them have a think about it and stuff. And I think
yeah,
maybe those like the little seeds of attitude towards women and that kind of thing of
yeah.
that same person feels like, oh, I'm at this level, so I'll chat to women. It's like right now I run a open mic night. I have first dibs on all the women who I book.
Right,
It's
yeah,
that kind of that attitude of no, just this is work. They're here to do a gig, provide a space for them to do a gig, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
and
But it's
if
that
you see them at enough, yeah.
it's
Go
having
sorry.
that maturity. It's
Yeah,
maturity. It's respect. and it's not just seeing women as something that you put your cock in. It's
Yeah,
actually they're people, and this is the thing. When you hear people, oh, I'm just going to go out. I'm going to go and fuck. I'm going to go and fuck something. You know, oh, come on, man, for fuck's sake. And
yeah,
that
yeah,
whole there's a whole kind of there's a whole raft of those men out
mm,
there, and that's what I mean. It takes other people to go. If you hear your mate talking like that, go, I don't fucking do that. What's wrong
yeah,
with you? And like you'll be in a bar and you can see them just trying to clock anybody, and they're
yeah,
like, oh yeah, she's, and you're like, you don't even care. You don't even care. Why don't you just go
yeah.
home and slam your cock in the fridge, all right? Instead of this fucking bullshit we have to put up with every time we go out. I'm fucking bored with it. And it is that it's seeing that women as they don't see women as people,
No,
and in our industry, and they turn up and they're like, oh yeah, there's new comic. Oh, I'm going to try on with her and I'll tell all these lies, and I'll make it out that I'm
yeah,
a bigger deal than I am, and then oh god, they're just fucking animals, mate.
yeah. It's
Animals.
just just wild. They're absolutely wild, man.
Yeah,
It's like yeah, I know. It's yeah, I know what the solution is within comedy.
keep
You know,
talking. I think that's it. Just keep
yeah,
talking.
keep talking.
And if you hear something, if you're in agreement with that person, just go, I heard this the other day. What's going on? Because I've had
Yeah,
it. I've had shit said about me, and I've been taken at one side, and they've gone, I heard this, and I'm like, no, that's not true. That's not how that went down. And we've had a conversation about it,
yeah,
and yeah, that's it. Have a chat. That's
yeah.
it.
That's it.
Chat to your mates. Chat to your mates. Chat to each
Yeah,
other. Educate your kids, especially the lads. You know, that's
yeah.
it.
I think yeah, it's just having a little, yeah, making people have a little think. I always remember doing a little tour abroad. We was gigging, and it was three guys and one girl. And one of the guys was sorting out the accommodation. He's like, "Yeah, I've booked this room. It's four bedroom. There's four beds in the room." And in my head, I was like, "There's three guys and one girl." I was like, "Yeah, just
Yeah, what are you on about?
share the room." So I was like, "What are you on about?" And then she didn't. I can tell like the way she was messaging back. She's like, "Oh, I'm not really sure about that." The other guy was silent on it, and I was thought, "Do what? I want to make this really unawkward. I'm going to find a place."
Yeah.
That way she could have a room to herself, and there's other rooms. I go, all right, I found this place, same price. It's been like I just basically just did whatever I had to do today, get a different place. I go, this is
Yeah.
where we should stay. And then like everyone voting against it, no vote goes, all right, I've booked it. And then she messaged me outside the group and went, oh, like you don't understand like
Mm.
how much I appreciate that. No, I didn't. She goes, for
But
whatever
yeah.
reason, I don't. He just felt like he wasn't getting it, that it wasn't
Nah, of course he
okay
wasn't.
for us to, yeah. And I was like, yeah, okay, he can't. That's just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
ridiculous. I go for me. I guess I might have done it for selfish reasons. I was with my missus at the time. I was like, how am I going to explain to her? Yeah, I'm going away to France. And I'm sharing a room. So it's just like, no, it's just comedy. It's just a gig. Like, no, I was like, yeah, you have your own room. You're away
Yeah.
from it. You're away from the guys. For me, that was
Um,
just common sense. But I think if that is what I've been exposed to on that level,
yeah.
then and that was someone not trying to hide it, not so, and someone probably didn't even have any malicious intent. He was just absent-minded.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, what if it's someone who is actually a bit malicious and has got something
Yeah,
a
man.
bit evil brewing in their head?
Yeah.
It's yes, it's
And
nice to yeah talk.
this is what we have to be mindful of. This is what we have to do. It's on us men.
Yeah,
And that's the bottom line. And
yeah,
there's nothing else now. It's gone on too much. It's gone on too long. It's on us.
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
so what a way to finish, Darren. What a way to finish. This has been a great chat, man. Um,
Those are good.
where can we find you? What you up to now? What's going on? What's happening in your
Yeah,
career,
so
man?
post Edinburgh, so we've got my show Inconceivable, and so that's going to be. We haven't got dates sorted, but we are going to take it around the country. I think we're going to take like different fringes and stuff,
Right.
and so I'm going to do that. Probably do it with another like work in progress show.
Mm,
Not for a show to do next summer, but just
Yeah.
just so I'll have a bit of freedom and not just tied into doing that same material for a year. So
Yeah.
just so those two shows. So yeah, keep an eye out on that. If you find information on that on social media, which would be Darran Griff, so DARRAN GRIFF, so Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
I still can't get used to saying X.
I think it's Kiss.
Yeah, and then my website is darrangriffiths.com, and yeah, I'll be updating that. That's it. Really. I'm gigging all the time. I've got literally first gig back tonight post Edinburgh, so I haven't gigged in ages, but
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be back on the stage, chatting nonsense to people
Nice.
about whatever's going on in the news. So
Good lad. Good lad.
Yeah,
Lovely. Well, honestly, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for joining us. This has been Insane in the Membrane. Keep talking to each other. We'll get through this shit. We'll see you next time.